Hello, and thank you for joining. Today's topic is going to be the Excel Office 365 tutorial number 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a basic spreadsheet. We're going to look at random sales figures here in this example for an entire year and show you how to use the Excel functions in order to calculate those values and to put them in a workbook. So what I've done here is I've opened up a blank workbook and I've entered on row 1, I've entered a sales name, and then I've added the month January and February in cells B1 and C1. Then I've listed 10 generic names for salespeople. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to fill in for all the months all the way through December. And how we do that is we go ahead and highlight cells B1 and C1 we click on cell B1, hold down the left mouse button, drag to C1, and then you can let go of the mouse button. Then what you'll do is bring the mouse back to the bottom right of cell C2, and you get the cross symbol. Click and hold the mouse button, the left mouse button, and then drag to the right, and you'll see it will autofill in all the months. We'll stop at December, and there we have January through December. But now what we're going to do is we're just going to create random sales figures for this example, random sales figure for these 10 salespeople. In order to create random numbers, we're just going to use an Excel function. So I'm going to go to a new worksheet by hitting the plus button down here. And I am going to do a random number between function. So you can get to the functions one of two ways. You can type equals rand. Start typing the function name. In this case, it's equals rand between. So I'd highlight rand between. I would double click it, and it would prompt me for the bottom number. I'll do 500 for the bottom number, and the top number we will do 10,000. Okay, I'm gonna hit return, and that will generate a random number for me. In this case, 7759. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this with this time. I'm going to go ahead. I'll delete that. And I'm going to go over to the formulas tab, and I'm going to go, I happen to know this is under the math and trig section here of the functions. I'm going to go ahead and click that option, and I'm going to go down and choose rand between, and you'll see it will give me, this time it'll give me an easier menu to use. So I'm going to say between the bottom number would be 500 and the top number would be 10,000. And I'm going to go ahead and say okay. And you'll see it gave me a random number there. So now what I'm going to do is I want to make this for all of the salespeople for 12 months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing we did with the autofill. We're going to go ahead and move the cursor to where you get a cross on the bottom of cell A1, bottom right of cell A1. I'm going to click and hold the left mouse button. I'm going to drag over for 12 months. That would be to column L, and I'm going to let go of that. Let go of the left mouse button, it will autofill in. Now I have that whole row highlighted. I'm going to go to the bottom right of cell L1 here, and when I get the cross symbol, I'm going to click and hold the left mouse button, and I'm going to drag it down 10 rows for 10 salespeople. And you'll see it automatically, every time you do something here, it's going to recalculate the random number. But that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and highlight all of those cells we're going to click on cell A1, and we're going to drag the mouse all the way over 12 rows or 12 columns and down 10 rows and highlight all those cells, let go of the mouse button, and then we're going to right click and choose copy. Now we're going to go back to sheet 1, and I'm going to put my cursor, my mouse right on cell B1, and we're going to copy those random numbers into this spreadsheet. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to right click. We're not going to do a paste here because that's going to paste the formula. What we want to do is we want to paste the values only. So it's not going to paste the actual formula. So we just want the numbers. Oh, one thing I did here is I was formatting before. You'll notice these first column B and column C have dollar symbols in the cells. That's because I formatted that while doing some testing. But we want to format the rest of these cells, and so I'm going to click in cell D2, click and hold the left mouse button, drag it over to the December column, all the way down 10 rows, highlight them all, let go of the mouse button, and then we can do this a couple of different ways. We can go to the Home tab, and we can go to the number option here and click the slanted arrow here, and it'll bring up the menu, or we can right click on the page itself and bring it up. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way this time, but a right click in the middle of that selected cells would also do the same thing. I'm going to bring up the number format, and I'm going to change the category to currency. I'm going to get rid of the decimal places, so we have no decimal places, and then we have a dollar symbol, and I'll add commas in the dollar figures also. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now you can see we have values across the board for all the salespeople. And then what we want to do, we want to total those values. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you a very simple way. In this case, we're just going to do we're going to type out the formula. We're going to do equals sum, and that's the summary over it. Summarize the range of cells, and then you're going to click open. If you double click it, it's going to ask you for number 1, number 2, and so forth. So you could click cell B2, C2, D2, and so forth, and it will add those up. But in this case, we're going to do a range and make it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on cell. It's asking me for number 1. I'm going to click on cell B2, and I'm going to leave my mouse button, my left mouse button selected, and I'm going to drag my mouse all the way to the right, all the way through December, and I'm going to go ahead and close the parentheses, and you'll see that it will summarize the total dollar value from cell B2 to M2. Okay, so that's from here to there. Now, we don't want to have to do that for every one of these totals, so what we're going to do, we're going to use autofill again. We're going to move the mouse over here to the bottom right of cell N2, where the total is for Jim Smith, and we are going to click and hold the left mouse button and drag it down to the bottom. Okay, now what we can do is we can clean up the spreadsheet a little bit here. I'm going to highlight row 1, and I'm going to click the bold font button here to make that bold. And we can also go here and we can do the same thing for the salespeople and make their names bold. And then we could even go in here and change the color of the font to a different a different color if we wanted to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as everything is black font right now. Okay, so I think the final thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go over here to column P, and we're going to add a chart. Okay, it's going to be a very small chart, obviously, because it's going to fit in one cell, but it'll show the general trending. So it's just a quick visual to show the trending of the sales volume for each salesperson. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go here and we're going to go to the Insert tab, and we're going to add something called a Sparkline. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the line. We're going to go ahead and do the line one. And then the data range, what we're going to do here, let's move this down a little bit. And the data range for this one will be for Jim Smith from January all the way through December. So I'm going to click and hold the left mouse button on cell B2, drag it over to the December data in cell M2, and then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Okay, and you see what will happen, it'll create a chart there. Now what I can do, you'll notice that it added the Sparkline menu up here now. So that's how you can go in there and edit that if you want to edit that. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing with autofill and copy this down for the other salespeople. You can see they all have different trends. And you may not like that line chart. You might want to do a column chart. When you can go into the Sparkline menu and change that to a column, right? So you can just get a quick visual. Some people find that helpful if you're trying to provide information or a quick snapshot of data to someone else or yourself. It's a nice visual to be able to have in there. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great day, and please subscribe if you're looking for additional Excel Office 365 content and other technical content. Thank you very much and have a great day.